Hello, everyone. Welcome to my mock draft version 2.0, audio and visual style. I'm Adam Caplan here for Inside the Birds. And in this version, this show, we're going to do picks 1 through 11. We're going to do 3 parts, picks 1 through 11, then 12 through 21, then 22 through 32. We'll do an overview of what we did in the first version, 1.0, as we go over each pick. And we did that one before the combine, so things have changed. We wanted to wait until we got through the first week of free agency because all the top players go off the board. That's happened. That happens every year. That never changes. So we kind of have an idea of where the teams stand in their current needs and future needs. We've looked inside contracts. We've talked to sources with a lot of teams here, so we have a general idea of where things stand, and we'll go from there. So pick number 1, obviously the Titans. Now, understand this. The Titans are a bad football team. There's a reason why they're picking number 1. It's not just because they haven't gotten the quarterback position right. They've struggled over the years with the draft. They've had some hits. They've had some bad misses. They've had some misses in free agencies. They've had some hits, but more misses, unfortunately. And they just don't have enough blue chip players. I've talked to clubs around the league over the years. You need at least 7 to 8 blue chip players to be considered a Super Bowl team, to be able to make a big run. And unfortunately, the Titans only have like one, and Jeffrey Simmons. There's some other good players, but you need big time players. And they also have to solve the quarterback position for the future. Their new front office, of course, they're hoping that they don't have to have the number 1 pick anymore, and they get the quarterback position right. So the Titans, with the first pick, they have the quarterback need for the future: receiver, corner, edge, and safety. They surprisingly released the veteran corner last week, which kind of surprised me that they went in that direction. When you look at the Titans situation at corner, I get it. You've got a new front office. Chidobe Awuzie was the guy they let go. He had a significant amount of guaranteed money left in his contract. They owe him over $7 million. That's fully guaranteed, and there was an additional $4 million, I'm told, that became fully guaranteed the 5th day of the league year, and they decided they weren't going to guarantee that money, so they clearly didn't want him. So they moved on from him. So corner is certainly a position of need, but it comes down to this: edge is a major need for them. Can they get the right medical information on Abdul Carter? Do they feel comfortable enough? It's a little bit early. We got to get to the combine recheck. He's got the stress reaction, which could be a precursor to a broken foot. You have to be careful with that one. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that sometimes what that stress reaction is, you got to feel comfortable with it. So the Titans have to feel comfortable with that, and they have to know where they're at with Cam Ward. The first time we did this mock in version 1.0, we went with Cam Ward. It comes down to Cam Ward and Abdul Carter. Cam Ward is the pick here for the Titans. He is by far the best quarterback for the draft. I told you that last time. It's been the consensus since I started working on this in mid-January. So we're going to go with Cam Ward for the Titans here at number 1. And number 2, it also comes down to this: if Cam Ward is there, they're taking him. If not, it comes down to Abdul Carter. I know edge is not a need, certainly not for this season, but the draft is always about the future. So they've secured Myles Garrett now. They've taken care of his contractual issue. They've guaranteed a lot of money for the future. When you look at the other situations here at edge for them, it's certainly not a current need. They don't need to do anything now, but understand past the season, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is on a 1-year deal. Alex Wright, who's a 3rd-round pick in 22, his contract's up. Isaiah McGuire enters year 3 of his 4-year deal. Okonkwo, he's on the final year of his deal. So, yeah, you can make the case for them to take an edge here. And Abdul Carter would be a great pick if they feel comfortable enough. Now, you look at the other needs, corner. For the future, it's certainly a need, not this season, but for the future, Travis Hunter has to be a consideration. And that's really it. If you're the Browns here, quarterback, left tackle. I know it's a need, but there's not a left tackle you would take here. It's not a value. Running back, yes, but it's not a value. Running receiver is a need. Travis Hunter is going to be looked at more of corner than receiver, but he could do both, and safety, but obviously you're not looking at safety here. Now, Cam Ward makes it to them at 2. We're going with Cam Ward, but for the sake of this mock draft 2.0, because it's more of a comfortability pick, because we don't know about Abdul Carter's total. We're not sure totally right now if every team is comfortable with his medical. So we're going to go with Travis Hunter, the corner who could play receiver out of Colorado at number 2. Abdul Carter, by the way, we went with Abdul Carter for the Browns at number 2 in the first mock, but because of the medical, we're not totally comfortable. So we're going to go with Travis Hunter. It's about as safe as it gets here at number 2. And number 3, the New York Giants. In the first version, we went with Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback from Colorado. He's definitely going in the first round. Very possible in the top 15. The question is here, if the Giants are comfortable with Abdul Carter's medical, they're going here, absolutely going here. At number 3, he'd be a great value for them. But again, we're not sure about how comfortable teams are with him. They need a quarterback. Although we know Aaron Rodgers is on their radar, we have to understand, even if Aaron Rodgers went there, he's a one-year solution. He's not the future quarterback. They need to have one. We know they need to figure out the right side of their line for the future that the Giants do. They need to figure out corner in terms of depth, but now they have enough for the near future. They're okay there. Need a running back, need a D tackle, but not now. So to me, it comes down to going for Shedeur Sanders. Yes, I'm sure if Ward and Carter are gone, if you're the Giants, you absolutely consider trading down. But who would trade up? That's what you have to ask for. So this is more of a need pick, not than a great value. I get it. They took Shedeur Sanders the first time. They're doing it again here in mock version number 2.0 here. Audio and video style, Shedeur Sanders is the pick for the Giants here. So far, we have the Titans go with Cam Ward, the Browns go with Travis Hunter, and the Giants go with Shedeur Sanders. Now, this is where it gets fascinating, because I know some people think they should the Patriots at number 4. By the way, we had the first time them taking Travis Hunter. I know corner now is not the need that it was when we did it the first time, because they addressed it in free agency, but edge is a major need for them. Receivers a need. This is where it gets fascinating for Abdul Carter. We're going to take Abdul Carter and just assume here for the Patriots that they feel comfortable with his medical. This is a great pick, because boy, folks, my value board completely drops after this pick. We're going with Abdul Carter for the Patriots here at edge from Penn State. And they're just going to have to live with the medical here. They have to feel comfortable with it. We know that their front office will do their due diligence. We'll go with Abdul Carter here. And they've had a very active offseason, no question. They spent big money in Milt Williams and a lot of mid-level free agents. And they continue having a good offseason here, getting a good value here with Abdul Carter. And for the next mock 3.0, we'll probably do that after a series of pro days are done. We'll wait till probably mid-April, then we'll do one more right before the draft. But right now we're going to go with Abdul Carter. This is a good pick here for the Patriots. At number 5, the Jaguars went with Mason Graham, the D tackle from Michigan, which is a need pick. Corners, an obvious need for them. Safety, running back for the future, and edge, depth, also for the future as well. This one to me, they're okay. They're okay on their offensive line now. They've got their tackles. Walker Little signed his extension within the last year. Corner, if Travis Hunter makes it to them at 5, they're going with Travis Hunter. They're taking 30 seconds to turn that card in, maybe 20 seconds. D tackle, clearly a need. Mason Graham is the best player on the board for the Jaguars here. We're going to go with Mason Graham at number 5 for those Jaguars. The Jaguars. Here at number 4 for Duval.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schiller, make sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
Number 6 for the Raiders. They're a bad football team. Their needs are clear: receiver, quarterback, corner, running back, D tackle, D end. Yeah, they need more edges. It comes down to who's there on the board. They don't need a D tackle early. They need it, but they don't need to go D tackle here. They need receiver for the future and for now. We went in the first mock, we went with McMillan, the receiver from U of A at the University of Arizona. We're going to do the same thing. Get that jumbo receiver, contested catch guy, really, really talented. He's going to go certainly in the upper half of the draft. This is the earliest that he'll go. Remember, we don't do trades in this mock. So we're going to go with McMillan, the receiver from University of Arizona at number 6. For the Raiders at number 7, we went in the first mock. We went with Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. This would be the earliest he would go. The Jets' needs are very clear. For the future, they need receiver, right tackle, tight end, safety, D tackle, and corner. They lost, remember, Reed, DJ Reed, the corner. Boy, I like Warren here, but man, they need tackle. They can get tight end later. This is a very deep. I'm told there's 7 tight ends that are draftable within the first 3 rounds that could be starters to the next level, so they could wait. I get it. Warren's the best one. We're going to go with Will Campbell, who will plug and play right tackle immediately. So if you really look at the Jets situation at tackle right now, they get Will Campbell here. He will be their right tackle day one. Fashanu's their left tackle. I know he could play right. He'll be the left tackle. They've got Tippmann at center, Vera Tucker at right guard. John Simpson now is their left guard. They could address that later to get competition. Now they're finally building a good offensive line with Darren Muji, their new general manager. Number 8 for the Panthers. Nobody needs edges more than them. They need a corner, safety, and receiver for the future. Went with Mykel Williams, the edge from Georgia in the first time. Mykel Williams is the best edge on the board. We're going to go with Mykel Williams again from Georgia. At number 8 to the Panthers so far, we went number 1, Cam Ward to the Titans. Number 2, Travis Hunter for the Browns. Number 3, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, to the Giants at 3. 4, Abdul Carter to the Patriots. If he makes it to them, boy, that'd be great. And hopefully his medicals will check out. At number 5, we went Mason Graham, the D tackle, to the Jaguars. Number 6, McMillan, receiver from University of Arizona, to the Raiders. Number 7, Will Campbell, who will play right tackle out of LSU for the Jets. At 8, we went to the Panthers, edge, major need, Mykel Williams, the edge from Georgia, to the Panthers. Will start day one. This one's interesting. At number 9, we stay in the division, the NFC South. And the first time we went with Jalen Walker, who's as Greg Cosell from NFL Films told us, where you lining him up? He could play inside, he could play outside. Where are you going to line him up? Well, the Saints will figure that out. We went with Walker the first time. We're going to go with him again. He's the best player overall on the board. At number 9 to the Saints, they could figure it out. And remember, is that the ageless, I say that, Demario Davis, who I remember seeing him at the Senior Bowl many, many moons ago. Demario Davis, who was a 3rd rounder for the Jets in the 2012 draft. He just turned 36 in January. Walker will be the eventual replacement, and I like him playing in Brandon Staley's defense. Walker goes number 9 to the Saints for the 2nd time in our mock draft. And now we go at number 10. The Bears, they went with Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall. We know that there's a concern about the character. We'll learn more about that as we go forward. We went with him in the first mock at number 10. They need edge rushers in the worst way. They need receiver, and they could use a corner, but the big one is edge. They've addressed their offensive line in a significant way with 3 new starters. They could get younger. I mean, they could clearly draft an offensive lineman here, but the bigger immediate need and also for the future is edge. We'll go with Mike Green again, the edge rusher from Marshall, who's had a good offseason. He's just got to get through the character issue. Now, let's go to number 11 with the 49ers. They don't need a corner right here. They could get a corner later. They need a D tackle. They can't line up right now. They don't have anybody who's ready to start, really. They need an edge, no doubt. They play a 43 front. They need an outside linebacker, and as I said, they need a corner. In the first one, we went with Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan. But in this one, we're going to stay for the 49ers at 11 at the University of Michigan. But we're going to go with the other D tackle, Kenneth Grant from Michigan. They got a starter for now and the future at D tackle. And at number 12, that is number 11. At number 12, it's the Dallas Cowboys. In the first one, we went with Walter Nolan. We're going to do it again. We really like him. They have a lot of needs. There's no question the Cowboys do. They need edge, no question about it. They need D tackle. Boy, Mozzie Smith has not gotten it done. I'm a little. See, you have yet another staff here. Do they have to do a D tackle here? No. They could take one later, but Mozzie Smith has done next to nothing in his first 2 years. We know they re-signed Odigizua. No doubt he's a stud player. They're very light. Solomon Thomas will provide depth here, no doubt. Parsons, listen, at edge, they got Parsons. Obviously, he's going to be there a long time. They'll get it done. Marshawn Nealon comes back. Sam Williams is there. We know there's been a character issue with him. Dante Fowler's back here. So they don't need to do edge now. They could do it later. But Walter Nolan is going to go in the upper half here. I know there's a debate where Walter Nolan should go. I know the Cowboys could use a receiver. I think this is a little bit too early for Matthew Golden. I know he ran really well. I get it. I think this is a little bit early. I know people are pointing to running back. They're taking the short-term view. They've got two guys. Miles Sanders obviously is on a short-term deal. So it's Javonte Williams, but they're going year by year, the Cowboys here, and I don't see him doing that. I'm taking the best player on the board here. Yes, they could go offensive line. We may look at that in the next draft, but we're going to go with the best player on the board is Walter Nolan, the D tackle from Mississippi, who's going to go in the upper half. Just a matter of will he go at number 12. So what you do is you get a rotation. You don't worry about that. Mozzie Smith hasn't done well. He just has to do well, but now they're going to get not only someone to push him. You get a great D tackle rotation. You just take Walter Nolan. You don't worry about what anyone else thinks. So here's we actually do the top 12 picks here. Then what we'll do is we'll go 13 through 22 in the next one, or 13 through 23. And then we'll finish it out is 23 or 24 through 32 in the final one. So here we go, 1 through 12. Cam Ward to the Titans at 1. Number 2 to the Browns, Travis Hunter. Love this pick for them because they got a bunch of cornerback contracts that are going to expire after the season. Denzel Ward, by the way, no guaranteed money left in his contract. We should mention that. Number 3 to the Giants. The only question here is that it a value Shedeur Sanders at 3, but we're going to go with Sanders here again for the second time. At number 4, Abdul Carter would be a great pick if he makes it to the Patriots at a major need as edge. Number 5, Mason Graham for the second time to the Jaguars at number 5. Number 6, McMillan, the receiver to the Raiders at number 6. Number 7, the Jets. They need a right tackle. Will Campbell will start right away. There you go. They got bookend tackles for the future. Now they're really building an offensive line. I know it's boring, folks, but they got to do it. Look at the Eagles. That's a good way to look at the way they've done the Super Bowl winner. The Jets go with Will Campbell at number 7. Number 8, Michael Williams to the Panthers. They need an edge. They get it with Williams. Number 9, the Saints go with Jalen Walker again. He can initially play inside backer. You can move him around. I like this pick for the Saints. Number 10, Mike Green, once again, edge, major need pick. Good football player. Got to get through the character concern. Number 11 to the Niners. Certainly a major need here by far. Kenneth Grant, the D tackle from Michigan. And number 12, we're going to go with Walter Nolan here. We may change our mind in the next draft. Next mock, we're going to go with Walter Nolan, the D tackle from the Cowboys at number 12. And there you have it, 1 through 12. We're going to go 13 through 21. In the first one for the Dolphins at 13, we went with Kenneth Grant. He is gone. So we moved down, and here's the thing with the Dolphins. They've never really, under this front office, it's really been a long time since they built a quality offensive line. It's time that the Dolphins address it, get it right, and they're going to go with Armand Membu here, the offensive lineman from Missouri who could play guard or tackle. You plug him in, he starts year 1. Start building a quality offensive line. That's what Chris Greer's got to do there with the Dolphins. That's at 13. Number 14, well, for the Colts at 14, we had Colston Loveland, who, by the way, I'm told by multiple teams, I know at least 2 teams that have Colston Loveland over Warren for grades. Now, I don't know what the Colts have, but I do know this. when you see the situation, get the tight end position right. I know they have some offensive line needs, center and guard, but Tyler Warren is the best player on the board. Quite frankly, it's Loveland or again Warren. It depends who you speak with, but I would think at this point, I haven't talked to 32 teams about Warren, but we're going to go with Tyler Warren. He's the best player on the board, the tight end out of Penn State, and he's a plug-and-play guy year one for the Colts at number 14. Number 15, we went with Nick Scorton the first time around. James Pierce has got more upside. We're going to go with Pierce, the edge rusher from University of Tennessee. And man, do the Falcons need edge rushers. They need a center. Drew Dahlman moved on. Be playing elsewhere. They need a corner. They need a D tackle and a safety. But we're going to with James Pierce for the Falcons at 15, the best edge rusher on the board. And now it comes to number 16. Although you could argue the guy that we're going to go to the Cardinals with went with Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher from Texas A&M the first time at the Cardinals. They have more bodies, okay? They have more players at the edge rush group. Baron Browning is back, who's had a big injury history, but is a good player. They added Josh Sweat. Yep, good football player. No doubt about it. Zaven Collins he's sort of a inside-outside linebacker, and B.J. Ojulari, who's not coming to his own yet. You can never have enough edge rushers. I'm sure Jonathan Gannon could tell you that. He learned that in 2022 with the Eagles with that great pass rush group that had 70 sacks. We're going to go with the best player on the board here for those Cardinals who have yet to build a world championship defense. Let's do it once again with Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher from Texas A&M, to the Cardinals at 16. At number 17, look, I went with Derek Harmon. That was a need pick for the Bengals at 17 the first time around. He's a D-tackle of Oregon. But they have a terrible offensive line. Remember, folks, when you look at their offensive line, okay, if we're being honest here, you've got the two stud receivers. They brought them back. Great job by the Bengals. Oh, by the way, Bengal fans, if you're listening, I did a really fun show with Carl Pickens, legendary former Bengals receiver. We did a 40-minute interview. You can find it on all of our podcasting platforms. He was incredible. We talked about Chase and Higgins with Carl last week. Check that out. But really, when you look at it, they don't have a stud in the interior. And Marius Mims, I mean, he showed some upside, no question. Orlando Brown's their left tackle. But that's it. They need more studs. And we're going to go for an offensive lineman here. The best player on the board is Kelvin Banks, who may play guard this year. He as I talked about in the first mock, which we did last month, some teams may think he's not long enough, so he may play inside. But he's the best player on the board at a major position of need, and now for the future, it's Kelvin Banks for the Bengals at 17. Now at 18. This guy, first of all, for the Seahawks at 18, Gray Zabel had a great Senior Bowl week. I'm told by people I trust, he's going to go in the first round. He meets a major need for the Seahawks offensive line. No, they've not got it right in a number of years. For the second time, we're going with Gray Zabel, who could play tackle or guard, but he probably would play guard for the Seahawks at this point at number 18. At number 19, boy, I know they got to get younger at inside backer, but they don't need to take one here. They need a corner. I know they have enough edge rushers, but remember, it's about the future. And they can use a left guard, but they need an upgraded corner. It's not about how many corners you have. It's about how talented they are. Jahdae Barron, to me, is the best player on the board at a position of need for the future, and somewhat for now, and we'll go with him once again. We did in the first mock. And then now at number 20, how could it be anyone but Ashton Genty, right? Major need at running back. Estime is not a starting running back. They also need D tackles, inside backer safeties, and could use a tight end. They don't need to do one now that they got Evan Ingram. But they need a running back badly here, and it's Ashton Genty for the second time in a row. And finally, to the Steelers at number 21. Now, we had Luther Burden going because at the time we did it, they had not made the trade for Metcalf. Now they have. And remember, their heavy 12 personnel team, even if they get Aaron Rodgers, which seems likely, I don't see them really changing up the thought process here of going heavy 12 personnel. They're loaded at tight end. Yes, they need a quarterback, but this is too early for me for a quarterback. They need a corner, no question about it. Darius Slay's on a one-year deal worth $10 million, fully guaranteed. He's 34 years old. the oldest active cornerback out of 32 teams who's on a roster right now. They need a running back, yes. You could get one later. There's some good ones, the second and third round D tackle, and they can get a receiver later. We're going to go with Will Johnson. Who's the best corner on the board out of Michigan at 21 for the Steelers. That really solidifies their team. They'll get the quarterback. Hopefully they get Rodgers, who wants to be there, I think, and we know they want him badly. And there you go. So in this mock, Dolphins at 13, Armand Membo, the guard tackle out of Missouri, finally building an offensive line here. Colts, Tyler Warren over Colston Loveland, the tight end. Warren, the tight end from Penn State. 15, Falcons, James Pierce, the edge rusher. Cardinals, Shamar Stewart, another edge rusher. Here's the edge rusher run. To the Cardinals, they need waves of pass rushers. I love this pick for them. Bengals, start building an offensive line. Bengals, please protect Joe Burrow. Kelvin Banks from Texas. 18, Seahawks, we know they need it. Gray Zabel, the guard from North Dakota State. 19, Buccaneers, Jahdae Barron, the corner out of Texas. Love this pick for them. Ashton Jeanty, who else could it possibly be, right? Unless it's Omari and Hampton. Could be. Never know. We don't know who they have higher. We think Jeanty's over number one on most boards, but Hampton's highly thought of. He goes to 20. Jeanty does to the running back needy Broncos. In 21, this really solidifies their football team for the future. Will Johnson, the corner for the Steelers, at 21. And that's the top 21, 22 through 32. The Chargers up at 22. The first mock, we went with James Pierce. He's off the board. We'll go with Nick Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. They need edge rushers. Tui Pelotu is one of their guys. They've got a bunch of older edges on the other side. They need the young developmental edge rusher. Scorton's that guy at 22. Let's go to 23. Now, this is interesting because I went with Kelvin Banks. He's gone, obviously, because he's gone in our mock now. This is an interesting thing. It's not that they need a receiver. They need a big-time receiver. Remember, Christian Watson coming off a torn ACL. We're going to go with Luther Burden, who's a stud receiver. And by the way, the over-under for receivers, and depending which book you look at, is 2.5. I've got Burden being the third receiver to go off the board. I've got him out of Missouri, who I love. I've watched him since he was young kid out of Missouri. I've got him going to the Packers at 23. At 24, in the first mock, we got a Marion Hampton, but remember they made the trade with the Niners to get it back, and they obviously have Aaron Jones as well. So they don't need to do anything at running back right now. So we're going to go with Malachi Starks, and they need to get younger at safety. Obviously, everybody knows about Harrison Smith near the end of his career. So Malachi Starks is that guy. Number 25. Wow. What I find crazy about the Texans is a year ago at this time, they were 6 deep at receiver. They've been decimated by injury, and it's terrible. Nico Collins is a stud, but they need to help him. They also need offensive linemen because they've had all sorts of changes this offseason all of a sudden. We had Will Campbell, who's long gone, going in our first mock. So we're going to go with Matthew Golden, stay in the state of Texas, who had an unbelievable 40 time. He'll go somewhere in the first round. So we've got Matthew Golden going 25 to the Texans. 26, 2 of those Rams. We had Ibuka, who in total go top 40 in the first mock. They are really bad at inside backer. They couldn't stop the run last year. We're going to go with Jahad Campbell, who you're going to hear about us talk about Friday on Inside the Birds when we dropped that show with Greg Cosell. Got him going to the Rams here at 26. At 27, the Ravens could use a young guard where they're not great. They could use another receiver, but they don't need to. They're not heavy 11 personnel. They don't need to do it, but they could use another edge rusher. They could use another safety, corner for down the line, inside backer for down the line. We're going to go with Josh Simmons, the guard tackle from Ohio State at 27 for the Texans. At 28, sorry, Eagle fans, Azir Aku I've got going to the Lions out of Boston College is an edge rusher at 28 to the Lions. The first one, Membu, he's long gone because they could use a guard. Well, they got Mahogany, the other Boston College player, on the roster. He might be starting this year for the Lions, but we got Azir Aku going to the Lions here. Boy, do they need edge rushers in a big way. I don't know. I just don't see it with their edge rusher group. Honestly, when you look at the Lions situation at edge rush, you've got when I look at their group, you've got Hutchinson's a stud. He's coming from a major injury, but he'll be fine. I don't know why they brought back Davenport with his injury history. He didn't do well at all. He hasn't done well in years. He's been hurt too much. Josh Pascal's an okay backup. They brought out Quadin Muhammad, who's kind of a reclamation project, who's bounced around for a lot of teams. Honestly, I just don't see it. They need an edge rusher here, and I take the best one for them on the board, and Azir Aku would be that guy who's had a really good offseason, good Senior Bowl, big final year at BC. 29. This one was interesting because you know about the big trade that they got. They got the left tackle. I still think they need to look at their offensive line. They need an explosive playmaker now. If Matthew Golden makes it there, I take Golden because they need a big time deep threat, and Golden can run. We're going to go with Josh Connerly because there's nothing there you would take at receiver. Edge group. I don't. Again, Azir Aku went, so we're going with Connerly, could play tackle guard for them, and it's about the quarterback and building around him. So that's there for the Commanders at number 29. 30. Boy, the board got beat up. They need a corner. I got one for them. They don't have to do receiver. They've addressed it in the offseason. Curtis Samuel is stuck with his contract due to the guarantee there. The 4 deep. They need it. They have enough edge rushers, but they need a big-time edge rusher. They don't have one. There's not one there. They can use a safety and a D tackle. We're going to go with – this is around where the talk will go with Trey Amos, the corner out of Mississippi. He's got good length. They could use another corner. We're going to go with Trey Amos for now and for the future. And Mississippi, 31. Boy, if Colston Loveland makes it, I don't see it because we went with Darius Alexander, who's an older player, but he's terrific. I don't in the real NFL draft, I'd be surprised if Loveland makes it. I think I'm higher on Loveland than a lot of the fans are, but scouting people who Jeff Mosher and I talked to, they love Loveland. Not enough people, draftniks, so to speak, are high enough on him as they should be. But for the sake of this mock, he's there. Out of Michigan, you've got now Travis Kelce's replacement. It'll take 10 seconds for them to turn in the card. If it happens now, to the Eagles, Azir Aku is off the board here at 32 for the Super Bowl champs. There's one guy. This guy should go off the board in the top 40. I don't care what his athletic numbers are, folks. This guy will be the replacement for the safety that they traded, Gardner Johnson, to the Texans. This guy had 13 picks. Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. And folks, let's not forget he started he didn't go there as a safety. He's relatively new to it, but he's a 2-time All-American. He's a great football player. 13 picks. None of them were fluky, I'm told, from scouting sources who've graded his tape. He's phenomenal. He's got to be in the conversation for the Eagles. Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame, is my pick here. So to finish it off, let's go to 22 for 32 again. Chargers, Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M at 22 for the Chargers. 23 to the Packers, Luther Burden, the receiver from Missouri. 24, Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia, to the Vikings. 25, Matthew Golden, the receiver out of Texas. It's interesting. The Texans take the Texas receiver. 26, Jahad Campbell from Alabama to the Rams at 26. 27, Josh Simmons, the offensive lineman from Ohio State. 28, Donovan Azir Aku, the edge rusher from the Boston College, to the Lions at 28. 29, the Commandos, Josh Connerly out of Oregon. We'll get more I'll get more clarity on what his best position is for the next mock, which will be in about 2 weeks. 30, Trey Amos, the corner out of Mississippi, to 30 to the Bills. 31, Chiefs get Colston Loveland. If they get him, folks, I'll faint. That would be like unbelievable. Could happen. You never know what's going to happen. Strange things happen. That's 31 to the runners-up to the Super Bowl, to get in the ring. And 32, the Super Bowl champion Eagles get that safety to replace Gardner Johnson. Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame. All right, folks, thank you for listening and watching. We'll speak to you soon here. I'm Adam Caplan for Inside the Birds.